Let me see if I can do this right. I got with me Batman.
Thank
And
you. I'm so happy to be here.
and this is Unpack Radio where we unpack the issue. The first lady's back. The Washington Wizards are playing out of town. So we got the first lady back. We got my man Trump with the sound effects. And we got my man who I've been friends with for quite some time. And we both decided to take upon us this crazy journey that we all call fitness. Let's go talk to my bro, my fitness bro.
Yo, what's going on, North? It's great to be on.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on Unpack Radio, and thank you for trusting us with your story because, one, you have to build up trust for people to want to do this for an hour of their time, first and foremost. But my first question is always, well, this is going to be my first question because I saw your last video. So how did it feel to kill Goku and take his powers?
Oh man, dude, that lift felt good. That was a long time coming. I was so there's a video out there where I dressed up as Goku when I squatted 505 pounds for the first time. And I was actually on track to hit 500 pounds back in the spring. I was getting ready for a powerlifting meet, and then I hurt my back, and I had to like step away, really lower the weights. I actually switched coaches, and so then like built back up, and it felt incredible to hit that lift.
And only me and Trump and probably Batman probably got that joke. First lady didn't know who the hell I was talking about, by the way. Now, the real first question is, what made you decide to start your fitness journey? Because we got some of your pictures, we got your videos, but
Oh
made
yeah.
you decide to say, I'm not going to live like this no longer?
Yeah. So I now write software for a living, but I used to be a chef, and like many chefs, I became very, very fat. So like I'm 5'10", and I got up to 247, and like 247 in like a really, really bad way, right? Like no muscle, no nothing, um, and so like that. I had a couple coworkers who were who kind of talked me into doing some fitness. Yeah, that was actually that's a little lighter. That's at 234. The picture of me in the black shirt, that's at me at 247. You can really see it like in the face. Like the black shirt makes me look slimmer than I actually am. I'm also wearing super baggy jeans there. Anyway, a lot. So there was kind of that aspect, but then there's also I looked at my dad, and I've always, ever since I was a little kid, I've been called the human clone child because I look a lot like my father. I have a lot of very similar mannerisms to him. And while there's many, many great aspects to him, one of the downsides is that he never really took care of himself. Um, well, he's starting to now a little bit, but like I just saw him go through medical thing after medical thing, and a lot of them just get more complicated because he just was overweight. And I was like, well, shit, I don't want that to be my future. And so that's what really got me going in terms of like the I need to be healthy or take care of myself, do what's right for me. And then, of course, as you go down the fitness journey, some of your goals change, right? Like I went from I just want to be fitter, healthier, not like massively obese like I was, to I've gotten into powerlifting and I now compete in that.
So, what do you think is a good starting point? Because I am 5'4", 215 on a good day. I definitely want to drop about 40 pounds. Where do I
Yeah.
start? How do I keep myself motivated once I start?
Oh
What
yeah. So the
is
biggest thing is
off the weight?
yeah, so the biggest thing is finding what is right for you, right? And what's right for you is different for every single person. So for me, it's putting a barbell on my back and squatting heavy amounts of weight. Now, does that mean that's going to be right for everybody? Oh, heck no, right? Like some people have Zumba classes, they're really into yoga. They're like some people just like enjoy really going on walks. It's a matter of, I think, experimenting and finding the right fit for you. And then, especially when somebody's a beginner, I would say not overdoing it at the start. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, hey, I'm going to make this life change. I need to go from like 0 to 100 immediately. Oh, hey, little one. Um, Whereas, like, when somebody tells me, like, and mind you, I'm not like a trainer or anything. I'm just like a former fat guy who's now very, very strong. But nonetheless, because I post stuff online where like I move heavy amounts of weight, people tend to ask me. Um, so what I tell people is if you're going in and you're starting like a weight training program because you want to experiment that with that, no more than 3 days a week. Like I am on a powerlifting, I lift weights competitively, and I currently lift 4 days a week. Like you don't have to go in 6, 7 days a week and like sacrifice all of your life for it because it's not about where you are in 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. It's where you're at in 9 months or a year. It's about finding those little patterns, those little habits that just make life a whole lot easier. And that's both fitness, but also like diet and what you eat.
Mm. Now, but bro, please explain to those who been where you been the journey and the process and the struggles, the mental anguish of losing the weight.
Oh yeah. So it is not a linear path, right? There are ups and downs and successes and failures and good things and bad things. I just had that within this week alone. Um, so this is more like not so much a weight loss, this is more a strength thing. But I had some very specific goals with lifts and numbers I wanted to hit. And I have easily bypassed two of them, and I came up well short of one of them. So I had like two high moments this week and one really low moment. And like, so understanding, so having the understanding of going through with those, I think is really important. So, so for me, when I first started losing weight, I actually did it in a super unhealthy way. And I made a really big mistake doing that. And I think that's part of the process, which is like, mistakes happen and you have to understand that and you can't beat yourself up about it. So I did a program through a gym back when I used to live in Buffalo, New York, where you put $500 down and they effectively hold that money ransom. Then you then have to go. They have workout classes. You can't just show up. They would have 1 hour classes and they would run like the same class every Monday, like 7 times during that day. They'd run the class on Tuesday. They'd run the same Tuesday class like 7 times that day. So you have to go to 5 classes a week and they give you a diet to follow. And at the end of it, you're supposed to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And if you did that, they gave you your money back. The only caveat was if at the end of that program you had more than 50 pounds of body fat on you, you had to run the pro. They would just roll the money over and you'd have to run it again. Um, and I lost a whole bunch of weight. Like, so you have the picture of me in the black shirt. I went from that to the picture of me in the blue shirt like I went from there to the one in the blue shirt from January till May. And that looks great. And everybody was saying amazing things. And I felt great at the time. Honestly, in retrospect, too much weight too fast. I then moved to Boston to change careers. I went back to school. And when I was in that blue shirt, I was down at 198 pounds. Uh, and I ended up rebounding back up to 235 because I got knocked out of that pattern because kind of like I talked before about having to take like small steps and finding the right things that work for you. I went from 0 to 100 back to 0. I didn't understand how to have that like middle ground of saying, hey, I can't do this one thing, but what about this other thing? I didn't have that knowledge and that's fine. So after I went back up to 235 around January 2019, so coming up on 3 years ago, I started working out again. I started going to a gym that had some classes, and I started doing those because the group fitness thing is a lot of fun. Again, I do a lot of barbell training now, but I also enjoy training in other different ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that says you have to do things in one particular way. So I started doing small group workout classes and started getting back into the pattern of things. Uh, and then I got really fixated on calisthenics for a while, which was not just, which is fine. It looks really showy, seeing like the people on the bars doing all sorts of strength stuff. Um, and then, excuse me, dog. And then it was, and then I started. Then actually, the original gym I was going to close down, and then I went to a more traditional gym and I started doing more traditional weights. And I for some reason started squatting and doing deadlifts because the calisthenics was great for the upper body, but a little lacking for the lower body. Uh, anyway, but like there were some like ups and downs. Where, like in some ways, I wasn't making as much progress as I would like. In other places, I was. But then I ended up meeting up with the trainer who was like, "Wow, like you're pretty strong with squats. You should consider doing more of this." I ended up signing up for a few sessions to kind of like get my squat form cleaned up. And then I got going with the barbell, and things were going really, really well for a while. Nissan, chill. Um, and then again, for the most part, things were going down. I was getting stronger. But like actually, one of the bad things that happened was actually just this last year, December last year, I signed up with a coach. I signed up with a big name coach. Norris, I know that you know the name of. Well, if I gave you the name, you would know who this guy is.
We believe people on this show, bro. Please call them out.
All
we
right,
names here. Names here.
fair enough. I signed up with Steve Shaw.
Oh, I love Steve. It's coming on December the 10th. Hopefully he
No
did
shit.
this. If not, we're going to have to tell him. We believe in honesty here on Unpack Radio.
So all right, so again, I signed up with Steve Shaw because I like what the man has to say. I have problems with his coaching. I'll go into that. But I still like what the man has to say on YouTube. I think he has a great message of work harder. You know that people don't put in nearly enough effort. I think that I think he has a great service in that he has programs that are incredibly reasonably priced, that are incredibly well structured. And if somebody wants to get into weights, I would highly recommend one of his programs because they're like $15 or something. Like, but I signed up with him, and he basically would check in every day, be like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" But he never really gave much good feedback. Like for instance, on squats, all he would tell me is, "You need to push your knees out more." That's it. So eventually, I was going through, and I got hurt. I got hurt while getting ready for a powerlifting meet. And so a couple of things happened at that point, which is why I decided to go a different direction. So one, getting hurt sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Like it knocks with your mental space. It kind of knocked me off my rhythm for a while, but I kept trying to push through for a little bit, and eventually I had to back off. So I went to Steve and I told him, I was like, "Hey man, I need to not squat or deadlift for a while because I need to let my back heal." Um, and and this is kind of the final straw, but what he told me was, well, when you start squatting again, start at 135 and build up by 20 pounds a week. I was paying him to coach me. He didn't give me alternative exercises. He didn't say like, "Hey, you should do the stretching routine. You should do these other things." He just didn't change the program at all. Just said, "Okay, cool. You can't do this." Like, no, like saying like, "Hey, do leg extensions, hamstring curls, do the sketch machine, anything like that." And then the other major problem I had, which this all threw me into a really weird space for a while, was after I got hurt, I did some reflecting on the program because, like, for instance, right now I'm doing a powerlifting prep program, and Kevin is my coach, and he's great. Now, do I agree with everything on the program? No, but I'm going through it, and we're going to talk, and we're going to adjust on stuff that some stuff felt right, some stuff didn't. Kevin's actually already adjusted my program going to this final block based on some feedback I gave him. Steve told me when I said, "Hey man, I want to squat more than 1 day a week," he told me that this is the only way to do it. And that when I said, "Hey, it felt really weird not doing any singles before my meet," he got very offended that I didn't have blind faith in him, that he would tell me exactly what I would move during the meet without getting anywhere near that weight.
Good point.
And kind of between, like, that to me felt incredibly like egotistical. Um,
Yeah.
and so kind of between those two things, I went a different way, but like I was a little bit lost because at that point I was hurt. I didn't know how to train without like aggravating my back.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like the gym went from a happy place where I would go to clear my head, get stronger, improve myself, to a place where every time I go in, I'd say, am I going to hurt myself again?
Those are
Like,
some good questions. And since my man, shout out to Steve Shaw and Kevin, both people I love, and who's also going to be on December the 10th roundtable discussion, they're not here to defend their methods at this moment. We're going to ease off them and get off their necks a little bit.
oh
Batman, you
yeah.
have a question.
Well, again, I want to end like the little bit with Steve, like just with this one thing. Like, again, I love what he has to say on YouTube. Like, I think if somebody was like, hey man, I need a good program, that this is the way I would go. I personally have issues with his coaching, and that's fine. But like, but again, I'm not saying that he's a trash person. I think he's a good person. I think he is a fantastic influence on the fitness community.
Batman,
So
you
I don't want to leave it with the impression that like I'm sitting there being like, screw this guy. Nah. Like like I have particular issues about a particular thing, but I think overall positive things about the man.
So you're currently training to compete in something. Can you tell us about what you're training for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I compete in powerlifting, which is a competition where you do the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. You get 3 attempts at each to do a successful repetition, and whatever the highest weight you complete is for for each of those lifts, that is your score for that lift.
what league are you going to be in, bro? You know, we talk to people around
Yeah,
the world and now everybody into the space that we're in.
yeah, so I'm in the USAPL, which is the main US powerlifting organization. And what it's kind of best known for is the fact that it is a drug tested organization. Like, no shade on to those who do PEDs. But like their thing is they want to be an organization where people don't feel like they have to hop on PEDs to be able to compete.
Oh, bro,
What's a PED?
I want all the smoke, and I'm about to give him all the smoke because my man being real polite. Those drug addicts out there who shooting themselves over all types of antibiotics. My man said I swapped the 500 with just me and Jesus. That's what he said to you. 700
Yeah,
pounds
man.
with just the strength of my calves, my quads, and my buttocks. That's what he said. He said he don't need that needle. He's good. Now that's the next question I was going to ask you because you know I'm having a roundtable discussion because in the fitness world we are in a state of what I like to call emergency, and we have seen a lot of bodybuilders who are checking out because of their love of anabolics. So how do you feel about the current state of emergency we in over the sport that we both fell in love with?
Oh, dude, it's sad to see. It just and I it's sad to see anybody die. It's sad to see especially people die young. And I think the worst part about this is the pressure that it eventually leads down to younger people to do anabolics, right? Like if you're a grown ass adult, like all of these IFBB pros, they know the risk. They know that they're taking years off their life by pushing themselves to an extreme. Like it's terrible, but where I think the real danger is, and I think it's a real danger for multiple reasons, are the fake natties, are the people who sit there and say, yes, these are results you can achieve naturally. Meanwhile, they're secretly hitting the spicy sauce, doing things that like, and so it's problematic for a couple of reasons. Like, and the biggest one I think is that like, sorry, the biggest one is that eventually kids are like, oh, I can't get there, and they feel not the desire, but the need to hop on steroids when there's no need to. Again, if you're a grown ass adult and you're like, hey, I want to be top tier in bodybuilding and this is something I need to do, your choice, right? If that takes years off your life, I don't know. Not for me, but like I ain't gonna sit there and judge somebody else for that. Like as long as it doesn't impact anybody else. But the other real problem with this push on anabolics, and especially like when it's like super secret, is that it can cause a lot of people to turn away from fitness and to turn away from like a good, healthy thing, right? Which is like, if you're like, you could be out there, you could have like God tier genetics, right? Like you touch a weight and you're like raw, like just like stupidly strong, stupidly muscular. But like you could see somebody else who has like solid genetics, who hops on test or whatever else, and all of a sudden they make you look like crap by comparison. So you must feel like, oh man, I'm not doing enough, and eventually give up and walk away. And unfortunately, that's all too frequent.
So we were talking like a little earlier about this guy I dated for a while that was like super duper duper skinny, like this big. And then he started taking these steroids, and like 4 months later, he was like really, really, really buff, right?
Yeah.
He great. Like he looked horrible. He was like crackhead then at first. And then he looked really good once he buffed up, but nothing else worked properly once he buffed up.
What are you talking about, Batman?
Nothing else worked properly.
Didn't work, Batman. What didn't work? Did the motor stop running?
Didn't work anymore. His penis did not work anymore. He was like always angry. Like the slightest stuff would just set him off. And like I could say the sky was blue, and he would be like, "No, the sky is purple. You're so stupid." Like, but he wasn't like that before he started taking the steroids, right? So I don't get the push, the need, the want to take them, because they obviously were man crazy.
Well, Batman, let me.
But like, let's look.
Man, 43 years old. You start getting up there in age, and it's hard getting this shit done. And to quote my man Steve Prue, if it was easy, everybody would do it, because it takes a lot of mental fortitude, and I'm pretty sure my man will confirm, to go in there, put some heavy shit on your back, and push through it mentally and physically. And everybody sometimes they just want a little bit of help, Batman. And you know, being that the best superhero ever, we're gonna discuss this next week. We don't believe in no help. We do this all natural, baby. Hey, bro.
I mean, so I want to. No, first I want to hit on your point. Then I actually want to swing back and put this in a different perspective. Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing. So one of the things that gets out there is people just a lot of people write off people who use steroids as like, oh, they do that, and as though they don't work hard. Now, like, there's a lot of people who use performance enhancing drugs who look like poop because they don't work hard. Like, if you want to look good and be on PEDs, you still have to work your butt off. Like, and but as to why would somebody do that, I guess, how many magazines are out there, not necessarily fitness related, just like in general, like style, or just like how many women's related magazines are out there where there's pressure on women to look a certain way that get women who are otherwise gorgeous and have their shit together to do extreme stuff to live up to an impossible standard, right? It's the same thing, different dynamic. Right? You see a guy you see a picture of a guy, right? You see a video of somebody doing something, and you don't have the context of they're in perfect lighting. This has been touched up. This is right off a pump, or they're hitting the secret sauce, whatever, all of the above. I saw a video on TikTok recently where there was a guy who like showed a picture of him looking incredible, and then him, just looking blah, and he was like, yeah, these were 2 hours apart. He was like, this is good lighting with a pump. This is just me normally. And the contrast was incredibly stark. But when you see that one where the guy looks incredible and you don't have the context, that kind of internal pressure just builds up of like, oh man, I need to look that way. I need to be that way. I need to, like, I'm falling short. I need to not do that.
I believe you're talking about Jeremy Schultz is his name, I believe. I think he's one of the tallest bodybuilders out there, standing over 7 feet tall, and he does look amazing. He is running tests, so
Oh
that's.
no 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 no! This was some like 24-year-old kid.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Jeremy Schultz. This guy, he's young and he's tall as hell, and he's like, "This is me in perfect lighting, posing, and this is me now without all the gimmicks." And it was refreshing to see somebody and be honest and
Oh
transparent
yeah.
with all the stuff they were doing, just so you can think they look some way, and then they completely look different outside of all the lights and outside of the pump and outside of being completely dried out and all the other tricks that they use to look amazing. So it was, I was like, oh man, impressive. Salute. You know what I mean? You being honest about what you're doing, about what you putting in your body and about what you're taking. And one thing I will commend TikTok about is a lot more people starting to discuss what the hell they putting in their damn body.
Right, right, and I think it's important to have the discussion, right? Because there's a huge difference between discussion and glorification. And
Mm-hmm.
what we've seen far too much of is glorification, like either hiding it, pretending it doesn't exist, or glorification, but without discussion of the ramifications. And we're starting to see more and more of that discussion, but also like we're starting to see, like, unfortunately, as these bodybuilders die, that is, I guess, one of the positive things of this horribleness is I think there's starting to be a little bit more widescreen discussion of these like bigger longer term ramifications, whereas like before, like bodybuilders have been dying because of not just PED use but extreme PED use for years and years and years. But now it's, but now there's more of an open conversation of like, yeah, they put themselves and they did this to themselves.
So I think like just bringing this, I guess, a little closer to home for me, it kind of makes me think about the surgery world, right? Like there's so many people. I've had surgery a million times. Like I am a guru at this
Oh,
point.
what, Batman? What did you have
Everything.
surgery on? Did you know this is Unpacked Radio? You gotta be honest, Batman.
Right, so I literally just got off the table getting my boobs done for like the third time. I've had full core lipo several times. I've had a BBL.
What's a BBL, Batman?
I've had a Brazilian butt lift. I have literally had everything from butt to probably shoulders touched at least once, some things multiple times. So this conversation kind of just brings it all home for me because the last year or so since the pandemic happened, we have seen so much of a rush of women going to get surgeries, and they haven't all gone to the best places to get the surgeries, and they all haven't listened to the best doctors or even followed the doctor's instructions, period. If it was, a good doctor, right? Everybody wants to look a certain way, right? Wants a tiny core and a really big butt, and it's led to so many deaths. So
Yep. And also people don't want to be told, "Hey, you can do this, but this is like but to do it right, it's like, go be on like a slow healthy weight loss, right?
yeah.
Put in that work at the gym, squat under a bar and like be like, "Hey, how long is it going to take? 3 months?" No, there's people lying to you. Like the second you tell somebody it's going to take a year and a half before you start to see the results you really want to see, like most people are gonna be like, yeah, forget that, right?
We're all just a little lazy. we're all looking for the quick way out, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. For like, and that's just human, and I think that's actually why, it's actually part of why it's so hard for people who are beginning in the fitness world, and actually people in general, but especially women, um, because when you don't know what to look for, you don't know who offers good, valuable information, you don't know how to sort. Like, there are so many people who will sell you straight BS,
Mm-hmm.
but like, and you won't be able to know the difference. And like, and especially for women who are new to the fitness world, it is incredibly predatory. Like, it's predatory towards men, but then there's like men have like a whole bunch of stuff that's targeted towards them, but then women have all of the additional like, "Hey, do this for like 20 seconds and you'll lose arm fat." No, you won't. Like, you know, like men have to deal with like V shreds and stuff like that, where it's like the guy's gonna tell you a whole bunch of shenanigans about like how to eat your favorite food and like and make up stuff, about like what kind of body type you are. But in the end, it may not be the best one, but he'll put you on like a real weightlifting routine, and so you're at least going to see some kind of results because when you're a beginner, as long as you're doing something like that's marginally correct, you're going to see results.
Uh,
But like women have to deal with that, the V shreds of the world, but then like the Instagram models who say, "Oh, I did this really little workout that's incredibly easy," but really they're doing hard normal workouts that are just really boring and wouldn't do well on Instagram ever.
Personal side note, and that God could not have planned this better. Somebody just now fell for the trap, and I'm not going to say their name, but I go home to them on a daily basis. Somebody just now fell for the V-shred trap.
Oh
Wife,
no!
he got my wife. He got my wife.
What is the V-shred trap? What is the
He
V-shred
hit her
trap?
with this is your body type, and I can teach you how to lose all this weight. And she fell for it and started following him on IG. I was like, oh my God, that V-shreds. Got him.
Right, but again, like I don't blame the people who fall for that because his marketing is incredibly good. He knows how to talk the good word. He knows how to sell the bullshit, and he knows how to add in just enough to
Yep.
make it sound feasible.
Hey, that's a multi-millionaire right there. I'm gonna mind my business. Now, Batman, we've been friends for a long time. I ask you a question.
Of course.
Because this is Unpack Radio. What made you decide to do all this stuff to your body? And do you ever be afraid that one day you won't wake up? Because Kanye mama not here no more.
It was funny. That's interesting because I was thinking about her when I was talking about people going to get stuff that they are not supposed to get. So at least the story as I remember it was that she went to her regular doctor. Her regular doctor told her no. She went somewhere else. She should have listened to a regular doctor, right? Yes. Typically, the person you see the most, typically when you see somebody good, they actually care about not just your health, but their name, right? So they're not going to purposely put you in danger. Unfortunately, rest in peace to Kanye's mom. So many people don't listen because they just want what they want. If you guys remember from the last time I was here, I used to be a dancer. I was at a party one time and some girl walked in and she just looked amazing. Like I had saw her like 30 days before and she did not look so amazing. But like this time she came in and her core was super tight. Her core just looked really good. So I've always had like a lot of boobs and a lot of bottom. But after the kids, I had like that saggy stretch mark tummy that I like literally covered up all the time. So she came in, she looked amazing. I went to go see her doctor thinking I could get lipo, and her doctor was like, nope, you got to get a tummy tuck instead. I didn't really have a lot of money at the time, so I just went online and I looked up all the places where I could possibly go to get the surgery at. So I ended up going to Miami 2015. I got a mommy makeover, so a tummy tuck and a boob job. The worst pain I have literally ever felt. But 2 weeks later, I was on the beach in Miami for my checkup and I looked amazing. No more stretch marks. I literally wore like half shirts for like a year. It could be snow on the ground and I would be outside in like a half shirt because I was just so proud of the tummy. I went back a year later, got full core lipo. This is 2015, 2016. December of last year, I went and got a BBL, full core lipo, upper back lipo, a little arm lipo, and a breast lift. And then last month, I got another breast lift, like a small lift, and I changed my implants out. I think for me, I just had like after the first surgery, I just had an idea of how I wanted to look. Like I never walked into the doctor and was like, okay, well, I want to look like this IG girl or whatever, right? At some point I was the IG girl. So I never walked in and said, I want to look like this person. But if I don't like it, I'm just not disciplined enough to go my behind to the gym, which is crazy. Because
I was about to say, I could have put you on to somebody. They could have got you all there for the low.
7 years in the military, you would think that I would be able to go to the gym, right? Because I remember what to do, but I'm just not disciplined enough to go to the gym, at least not consistently, right? And like now I have work and I have the kids and I got to go show houses and I have all these agents calling me and I got to stop and work on my deals and they deals and somebody else's deal. And I'm just doing so much and I'm not consistent. It's easier for me to be like, okay, let me give this doctor $5,000, run down to Tyson, get this fat sucked out, and then here we go. We're good.
All right, Batman. I lost one person. I don't need to lose nobody else. So we're gonna figure this out together.
We're not going anywhere. We're gonna figure it out.
Now, bro, I just now joined the USPA, and the journey has been wow.
Yeah, man.
Everybody called me out for my lack of deadlift and my lack of squats, and I'm about to surprise the whole world when I got back. What I got planned for them in March. They don't know I'm about to give them the Thanos Affinity Gauntlet because I'm about to come out with I'm about to hit them with that new 12. I'm about to hit them with a 1,200 total if I can pull it off. But
yeah, man.
At 43 years old, I'm hitting you with a 12. I'm hitting you with a 12 piece. I'm gonna hit you with the 352 off the bench. I'm hitting you with that off the guarantee, maybe more if I can get this rotated cuff to act right. If the rotated cuff don't want to carburet, it's just gonna be 352. I'm going to hit you with like a nice 350 swat, and that's coming from zero. And I'm 43 years old, and then I'm going to hit you with some type of insane deadlift. I think right now I can probably do 450 safely. So
yeah, man, like from not deadlifting at all to 450 right off the bat, that is stupid impressive.
I don't know if you saw my last one, bro. If you saw my last one, it was clean at 365. It was so clean it went up like butter. I might even send Trump my video too. You know what I mean? But it went up like butter. So can you explain the mindset, the psychopathic mindset we have to do what we do?
So first off, you have to be lifting takes many different there's many different ways to go about it. We decide to go about a form of lifting that has like a really high injury rate because we're lifting near our maximum on a regular basis. Whereas like a bodybuilder, they do sets of like 12, 15 repetitions, like not generally going super low. We're like, hey, let's do like 7 and below. Usually working the 5 to 3 reps. So that means like you're putting every time you move a bar, you're putting yourself through like a shit ton of stress, like physical stress, which means that when you walk around, when you're like truly training and powerlifting, you are sore a lot of the time. And you just have to accept that. That's just like part of life. But then when it comes to push to shove, right? Like when it comes competition time, like when you did your bench, it's either you put up the weight or you don't. But it's also not like what you see on social media when you see people are like, oh, I'm a bench press whatever weight. And they like take the bar, they slam it off their chest and they push it up immediately super fast, right? Like everything in powerlifting is super slow and controlled. So you're moving this weight, but when you take a bench press, for instance, you have to take it off, you have to control the weight, you have to bring it to your chest, you have to wait till that person, so you have to wait till you control it, and the judge says press, you press it up, and then you have to control it there as well. Man, when you're holding that weight on your chest, that feels like forever. And so you have to have you have to go into a certain place. What for every person, that place is different. For me, it's a hateful, angry place that I have to go to. Like I will often sit there and I will listen, like when I'm doing singles, when I'm doing like just practice of like getting near my maximum, I will listen to the same song I'll find a song that like really hits me for that day, and I will listen to that same song on repeat because it just gets me into a place where I need to be to move that weight. And just like and like in that video that you have of me when I squatted 505 pounds, like you can hear me like breathing and kind of getting myself like almost into a trance, and then bracing myself and hitting that way.
Wait on that one.
Bro, I'm gonna let you give out your own numbers right now because I know you about to take them to hell your next event.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that last bit?
What was those numbers for your deadlift and your squat?
Yes, sir. So the that deadlift was 555 pounds. And the squat was 505.
That's my 1,000-pound application right there, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need no stinking bench press. And again, I've been truly training for under 3 years, and within that 3 years, I had to deal with the pandemic, where my gym got shut down, and so I was doing just like body weight stuff out of my parents' place until actually I built a squat rack out of 2x4s, concrete, and a paint bucket. I also built weights out of concrete. And so for like about a month, I was able to actually like during the pandemic, I was actually able to like lift until gyms opened back up. Um, but yeah, and then I've hit a bench press of 340 pounds, and I do this. I currently weigh 208 pounds. I'm going to be competing at 205.
I'll freaking stand it. Me, as an old man, I will be competing at 43 years old at 110 kg. For you laymen, that's 242.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And that's what I love about powerlifting, right? It's such a positive thing, right? It doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. Everybody in that community wants to see everybody else succeed, and that's part of it. So again, like I get into a hateful place when like I move that bar, like on my Instagram, there's videos from my first powerlifting meet, which I did after lifting for about a year and a half, focusing on powerlifting for maybe 9 months. And I squatted 445. But when I went up to that bar, put my hands on that bar, about 6 months prior to that, I'd gotten laid off by a company I used to work for. They had like a massive 550 person layoff. Anyway, and it wasn't about like what I had done or anything like that. It was just like complete randomness that I lost my job. But like I went up to that bar and I literally was saying in my head, like this company, they threw you away. They saw you as trash. You were nothing, right? And that was that mental motivation to like get that weight done.
Hey,
But like at the end of it, it was pure joy and happiness.
hey, I hate my coach a lot. Shout out to Coach Leroy. Trust and believe. I look at him every day. It was just like, man, you're crazy. I think sometimes my wife got him and my wife go half and half on the insurance policy because some of the stuff he requests. I look.
Oh
at
yeah,
him,
no,
you are crazy.
I have that same way with Kevin. I'm like, hey man, I love you, but I hate you. Like you run the best fitness group on Facebook. You're an amazing human being, like one that I look up to and aspire to be half the man he is. But and I like the results I have, but you're an evil man.
Yeah.
With all the respect in the world.
Shout out to Kevin, who will be here on December the 10th. Round table discussion, state of emergency. It's almost time to wrap this up. I'm going to ask, Batman and our guest. I'll start off with our guest. What would you tell someone who wants to start their fitness journey?
So, one, join Pure Bullfit, right? There's other good fitness communities out there. This is a free, like having a good community is a really good place. Two, find a good solid program. Again, like find people that know what they're talking about who can get you onto a good program because you want to track your results, and don't do too much too fast. It's not about what you can do in 3 months. It's not what about you. It's not about what you can do in 6 months. It's about where you're at in a year and a half, 2 years. What kind of things can you adopt into your life that can be consistent, right? Like I do powerlifting. That's, it's a form of training that takes a lot of time because of what it is. But maybe you're a mom, maybe you're busy, so maybe like just going in and doing spin classes like 3 times a week, just because it's an hour, it's in, it's out, you're done, you're on with your life. Maybe that's right for you, and that's amazing. And so again, just finding that right program, finding a good community who can hold you accountable, but also encourage you, and be real with you about it. Those are the biggest things to start off with.
Want me to go first, Batman? I will go first. I will tell people along this fitness journey that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you're willing to start something that's not going to be easy all the time. And there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to be utterly and truly alone. And you have to adopt a mindset of a complete crazy psychopath. You have to lock in your food. You have to stay locked into your food. You have to lock in whatever program you decide to do, and you have to stay locked into that particular program every day. And you have to fight tooth and nail to stick to your mental mindset. Now, shout out to Kevin. I do love his group, but I did have to leave his group because sometime in this fitness world, it's not always designed for everybody. So for mental health reasons, I had to pull back for a while. Now, I will hope in this fitness space that we adopt a better mindset for people who look like me, Batman, the First Lady, and Trump. But, you know what I mean, we have to adopt those in our community. So until we do those things, we have to reach out and slowly bring people to a place where they know fitness can save your life. And you will meet brothers and sisters across the world who are willing to give you all type of advice. And some of my favorite people are shout out to Kevin, shout out to Steve Prue, shout out to Steve Shaw, shout out to Derek Clark, and all my other fitness brothers out there.
Eric Clark is the man.
Derek Clark is the damn man. He answers my phone calls 24/7. That's my guy. All right, Batman, what do you have to say about your new fitness journey? Because we don't get you away from Dr. Miami over there.
So I guess I'm gonna mix the two, right? We're gonna mix my fitness and my surgery journey. And I guess I just want to tell my surgery sisters that, do your research, make sure you go into reputable doctors, and that it does not stop stop at surgery, right? You still have to eat well. You still have to work out. Again, I have had lipo a couple of times, right? So you still have to do the work. It's not as simple as just laying on the table. You have to have the fitness journey combined with your surgery journey if you're really going to get your desired look.
All right, so we're gonna be seeing you at goals off of exit 13, and
maybe
we don't get you away from Dr. Miami
at the
over
warehouse.
there.
I got houses and shit.
No, I mean, but again, like start with going on a walk. Like legit, just like what matters more than a specific thing is the pattern. Like don't it doesn't have to be some big extreme thing. It can just be like, hey, I'm gonna take half an hour. I'm gonna go on a walk 3 times a week that I wasn't doing before. Dope. Then like maybe it's like next time I'm gonna try to like take that walk, go up a hill. You know, or just like hey, I'm gonna walk on a treadmill for like up a hill for half an hour 3 times a week, nothing more. And just like again, find what's right for you.
That's great advice.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
All right, on the way out, we're gonna call out some people who are full of poo-poo as well. Because hey, this is Unpack Radio, and we believe in unpacking the issue. Shout out to V Shreds, who I mean. Shout out to V Shreds. Shout out to this young man also on TikTok. I do not know this young man's name, but every time I see him, I'm tempted to sketch his ass and or do that him and come back at him with a video. And I have to choose not to be violent that day. But one day I'm gonna choose violence. And next time my man say I'm 6'3", 200 some pounds, what you gonna do if I come across the line? I'm gonna post a video and say I'm 6 feet 250. You come across this fucking line, you going to sleep. All right. What do you guys say in closing, Batman?
I just want to thank Julian for joining us. Like, I learned a whole lot tonight because I don't know anything about, the only thing I know about what you guys are doing is the X with the steroids and the little teeny tiny penis. So I'm so happy you guys, I learned something and you guys kind of changed my mind about, or just opened me up to the journey, right? I appreciate that.
All right, bro. I got about 5 minutes. What do you have to say in closing? Please give all your information where people can contact you.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure to be on and talk with you. Like, I understand why, but I'm sad that you had to take a step back from pure bullshit because I mean, we're friends on Facebook now, but I have certainly enjoyed seeing your content. I've enjoyed seeing you like take that journey to that first meet where you did, the bench press, and now, like, yeah, people called you out and were like, "Hey, man, where the legs at?" But like you put up, right? Like when people call you out, you can put up or shut up, and you're like, hey, I'm just beginning, and but like I'm gonna put in the work, and you clearly are, and that is, man, I have nothing but straight respect for that. Because it's awesome, right? You're working to improve yourself. Anyway, so I have an Instagram, Julian.Sirkin, spelled the same way there, and I post videos of me lifting occasionally. I also post pictures of food because one of the fun things I do is I run a speakeasy restaurant out of my apartment, and I post pictures of my dog. Yeah.
All right. In closing, for all my fitness brothers, this is your warning. You had me at the legs. You had me for a while, but enjoy your small victories because I'm coming for you.
Listen.
And I'm coming for revenge.
Listen.
And I'm coming to take everybody out. I'm coming for the pain, baby. And when I come in March at my next event, it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very, very, very surprised. All right, Batman, you got 1,001 things going on. What can people find you at?
So you guys can find me on IG. It's at DMV Property Diva. Of course, you guys can find my brokerage and my agents at realurbanrealty.com. No www, just realurbanrealty.com. If you are looking for a home, or you're looking to sell a home, if you're looking to rent a home, if you're looking to invest in property in DC, Maryland, Georgia, or PA, I'm your broker.
And next week on Unpack Radio, we going back to back to back. We going to 3rd and we going to 10th. So hopefully we can talk Batman to come back in here because both episodes, we got one brother coming in from TikTok and he gonna piss Batman off because he said Batman the weakest superhero ever.
Oh, he can't come in here.
What?
Another brother coming in from TikTok and
he
also gonna say Batman the weakest superhero ever. And one of them served a little bit of time in a federal institution, so we also gonna have a dip into that world as well. And then on the 10th, we are gonna have our state of emergency round table where we have Steve Shaw, we have Kevin, we have Dirk Clark, we have Steve Prue, we have my man Ryan from Canada also chiming in. It's going to be a lot of voices, and hopefully we can come to an understanding about what's going on in this world of fitness and why so many people are dying. Because at the end of the day, this crazy journey of fitness is something I fell in love with, and I truly enjoy the sport of the USPA. I enjoy the league. And I will continue my natural journey and do what I can do naturally. And once I can't do no more, that's it. But I'm going to enjoy my journey. But I would suggest play the game fair, leave these drugs alone, and just be naturally you. And that's the best advice I got for all y'all out there. All right, we'll see you next time on Impact Radio where we going back to back to back. And then Trump got an award show coming up, and I think my man Andrew did nominate us, and the votes have been coming in. And hey, if we sneak an award out the show, salute to us. You know what I mean? All right, we going back to back. Bro, thank you for joining Unpack Radio. I salute to you, sir. And hey, I'm looking forward to your next journey. I'm rooting for you. And I know you're going to take home because we only build champions over here, baby.
Oh, yeah, man. Powerlifting meet on December 12th. Just 22 days out.
Mhm.
Yeah, we only build champions over here, so I know you got this one in the bag. All right, salute to you guys. See you on Unpack Radio. We about to eat some beignets I'm supposed to be having. Sorry, Coach Leroy. Salute.